What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be checking out a very special title. I totally forgot that it existed, so like, you could make the argument that Splattercat didn't actually think this game was that special, but it is actually. Anything by Arkan Games tends to be just sort of like a trip. Like, there's only a couple companies in indie gaming that are quite like Arkan. There's like the Trees Brothers, there's like Arkan Software, and then there's like Screwfly. Like, those are the three companies that are constantly just doing, like, weird stuff, basically. And they're big fans of moonshots. All three of those companies, they kind of, like, go after an idea, and they just doggedly chase it down, regardless of whether or not there's, like, market share to gain there, or whether or not there's, like, an audience they go through. And I actually really, really like that about those three companies, is that you can tell that what they make is driven by passion, not by profit margin. And so, anyways, AI War 2. There are many among you that probably played AI War 1. I lost an entire summer to AI War 1. I was really, really addicted to it. It was a very micro-heavy game that had a lot of stuff going on, but even to this day tends to be like one of the best RTSs ever made if you're into like Sins of a Solar Empire and stuff like that. AI War 2 is very, very similar, but it's like a more streamlined AI War 1. AI War 2 gets rid of a lot of the granularity of AI War. And some people will like that, and some people will not like that about the game. That being said, this is still a game that has a considerable learning curve. This is going to be a tough one to learn. Like, I had to watch just to make this video, okay? Just to make this video for the release of their new expansion that they just put out, I had to watch around 4 hours of tutorials. I'm just going to throw that out. Maybe you're a faster learner than I am, but I had to watch a lot of tutorials in order to kind of get myself up to speed with this game. So we're going to dive on in today. We're going to spend about 25-30 minutes with it. I would caution you against judging me as a player here today. This is really just to raise awareness about the game and be like, hey, if you're an RTS fan, this is one of the better ones out there along with the first game, and you should definitely have it on your radar somewhere. I guarantee you'll enjoy it. It's got a little bit of a roguelike bent to it. When you die, it's over. Basically, the goal of the game is that an AI has genocided all of humanity, and you start the game out as the last human planet. And the AI has kind of gone dormant. It assumes that it's killed you all, but like you are like this one rogue pocket of humans that are in the corner of the galaxy, and the goal is to fight your way to the AI core and wipe it out. If you've ever read, like, Ender's Game, very, very similar. Like, when they went to war with the bugs, like, we almost lost. And so now we're sending out, like, this fleet to go annihilate the enemy. This is a game of massive scale, of huge implication, and lots of things to learn. And I think you guys are going to like it if you're into this genre. Like, it's hard for me to think of anybody that wouldn't like this game if they're into RTSs. So anyways, I'm still very much a neophyte at this game. I have a lot of hours in the first AI War. This one I never really dove into because I was waiting for the expansions and everything to come out until it was like a complete package. And so anyways, I've got like a couple hours in it, 3 or 4 hours in it over the last couple days, but I thought that it warranted a video. Obviously, I'm not going to be an expert like some of the people on the internet, but just be aware, this video is for awareness. This is not a video where I'm going to be showing off my skill at the game, so you know, I'm going to be bad. Buckle yourself on in, but this game is dope. So there's a number of things that you can do right here. This game kind of boasts a really, really customizable set of start options. You can go in on a custom start, and I mean, there's like factions. You can tailor like everything. So you can tailor what you want the galaxy to look like. You can tailor what factions you want involved. You can also like change around your fleets and like what battle stations you want to start out with. You can do that for the AI as well, and you can change their AI play type. I mean, this game is hugely customizable, such to the fact that if I was to sit here for like the next 30 minutes and just show you all the things that you can customize starting out a game, chances are we wouldn't even get to see any gameplay. So we're just going to go with quick start for right now. We're going to go on Classic Fleet Difficulty 5. Classic Fleet Difficulty 5. Difficulty 5 is considered easy. I'll put it like that. Among experienced players, Difficulty 5 has the AI intentionally making mistakes that you can capitalize on. Difficulty 7 is where the game really starts to get, like, nasty, and it starts to really, really mess with you. This game does actually boast a pretty impressive AI. Like, the game is threatening once you get to, like, medium and higher difficulties. It is going to try to counter you. It is paying attention to it is paying attention to the composition of your fleets. It is paying attention to the units that you're favoring, and it will actively try to counter you, which is kind of cool. We got to name our campaign right here. We're going to go with something sweet and simple, Butts. Start the game. No scenario selected. Oh, my bad. There we go. Okay, so the first thing we want to do in AI War is we want to pause the game because there's a lot to go over here. I'm going to try and streamline it to the best of my ability so that you can actually see some fleet battles and you can actually see some fighting going on. But this game has a very, very busy UI, and we kind of need to talk about why that is, because every part is in its place and it all matters. So first things first, what we've got is we've got habitation colonies over here. We've got cryopods over here. If these get blowed up, we have a bad day, and basically we lose. These are the last of humanity right here. So the living humans are inside these little habitation pods, and then all the rest of humanity is frozen in these massive crypto-sleep, cryo-sleep, basically sarcophagi megaships. We have a couple of places here. We've got our command station. If this goes down, that's pretty much a GG. We've got a factory right here. The factory is going to be producing our ships. We've got our transport flagship. This is actually going to be the linchpin of our entire playthrough because most of our attack options are going to revolve around this little LED lit. It looks like, you know what this looks like right here? It looks like the bullets. Did you guys ever see Underworld, that old vampire movie, dude? They had bullets that had UV juice inside of them so that when you shoot the vampires, it kills them. And so anyways, that's what the bullets look like. I've been calling it the tampon, but like it actually looks like a UV bullet a lot more. These right here are metal harvesters. They're providing us with metal. There's a whole bunch of those inside the system. And then, ooh, we've got like gates all, ooh, we've got different colors flying around. Okay, cool. I'm not actually super familiar with all the expansion content because like it literally just came out. And so this might get a little bit hairy and hectic. We've got ourselves a force field generator right here. That is protecting all of our main buildings. Down here we have a battle station. This battle station is effectively increasing our allotment of turrets that we can have available. And then we've got a combat factory over here, which is also building ships. And what you'll see is with our fleet carrier right here, all combat centers around these fleet carriers. So this is a major difference between AI War 1 and AI War 2, is that in AI War 1, you basically controlled your entire fleet of like fighters and cruisers and corvettes and whatnot individually, and there was tons of just like hotkeying and micro and lots of stuff going on. I wasn't particularly a fan of that aspect of the game, but the game had so much depth that I couldn't help myself but keep playing it. In this game, your fleets are all around these transport ships. So if you look right here, it says that we've got V-Wing Mark 1s, concussion corvettes, heavy fusion bombers, and force field frigates down at the bottom of the screen around the center. That is effectively the contingency that travels along with this ship. And so, like, you can easily just link all those ships to this ship, and then you tell this ship to go over here, and it'll just automatically attack with its fleets on whatever you want it to go. You can also individually use ships, but no matter what you do, the ships will always be kind of tied to this flagship. They are intrinsically linked, and you can use it to like transport them around. But anyways, the UI. We've got what system that we're inside of. We've got our metal right now and how much we're producing. We've got our energy. Energy's going to power our turrets and our structures and all of our other stuff. We've got science over here that's going to be for research, and you might be saying, damn, you start out with a lot of it. You do. That's because you're supposed to be using this science to specialize your fleet. Right at the beginning of the game, you want to be like good at something. You want to have like Mark III bombers right at the beginning of the game. You want to have like Mark III fighters right at the beginning of the game, because that's going to change the tempo and dictate the tactics that you're going to be using for the rest of the game. You will get more science later on, so this is not a finite amount. This will actually kind of like tick its way upwards as we take over planets. We've got our hacking over here. This is a new resource from AI War 2. Where you can use this to hack enemy structures and steal blueprints to get new ships. I think with these transports right here, they can have 6 lines of ships. A line of ship is basically a variety, and as of right now, this one right here has 4, so if we were to like hack a database and get a new ship, it should just install that new ship on this fleet carrier. This is the most important stat in the game. This is called the AI progress. This is effectively how hard the game is going to be. What it represents is how aware of you the AI is. This is a mechanic that's carried over from the first game, where the higher this number goes, the harder the AI is going to come after you. Like, if you go out in your backyard and there's like one mosquito, you're like, oh, that's moderately annoying. If you go out in the backyard and you get bit like 20 times in the course of like 15 minutes like I do, because I live in a swamp, then you're going to be like, okay, we got to get some countermeasures. I need to get some electric lamps out here. I need to get some poison. I need to get some traps. That's exactly what this is. The more annoying you are to the AI, the more this ramps up and the more they're going to throw at you. As you can see, it's already got listed. The counterattacks will come at AIP 50. So that means that's when they're going to start hitting us back. Like every time we start hitting something, they're going to be like, no, you. And they're going to send a fleet back. Reconquest waves, those are like big beefy boy waves that try to reconquer planets that you've taken over that you've got to fend off. And then there's also threat waves, which I have no idea on threat waves. I'll be honest with you. This is one of those games that I start and stop so much that I tend to not get that far in. Okay, we've got a number of symbols around here, but you can more or less just kind of ignore them. What I would like to do is on this left-hand side, we've got all of the things that we can build inside this area. So this is everything around our planet right now, and it's got all of our fleets kind of like organized right now. So we've got the Jania Guard, the Atienne Guard, the Apoia Guard, and all those guys, and then this guy right here is the Strike Omsis, which is right there. It's called a strike if it can leave the system and it can go hit something else. But we've got a little shield next to here. This is very, very important. That's how strong, effectively, that grouping is. If I unpause the game, what you'll notice is they will start building ships. And so what you'll start seeing is little ships will start cropping up right here, just like being a part of the garrison that's inside these buildings. And in addition, you can see the ships that are owed to this fleet carrier being produced. So I'm going to take a second, I'm going to let that get produced, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so it looks like our first fleet contingency is done, and it's actively, like, kind of building up all these random fleets that are around, too. It's also built for us a big ol' friggy boy down here. So we've got a sentry frigate that's been built, and we can have a whole bunch of these. One thing that I very much like about AI War 2 is that you can zoom in, and you can actually take a look at these fleets that you have available. So right here, we've got our missile. These are corvettes right here that fire missile batteries. We've got fusion bombers right here for blowing up stations. We've got ourselves some force field frigates that are putting a shield around this thing that nothing can pass through. We've got our V-Wings over here, which are basically your standard fighters that are going to be flying around tackling enemies. And if you wanted to clean this up and make the whole area look nicer, we can just embed these guys with the L key, and they'll all go inside the carrier. And that's that. And then we can take this carrier wherever we want it to go and attack the enemy and just unload at the location. For right now, what we need to do, though, is we need to press the tab key, and we need to jump out and take a look at our surroundings. So we've got an okay start right here. Like, this is fairly easily chokeable. Like, I don't hate it. We've got a Strength 2 enemy right there, a Strength 5 enemy right here. You can take a look, and it gives you a little symbol to tell you what's there. There's an advanced research station right here. If we were to hack this, we would be able to get corvettes, or spiders, or rams, or vanguards, or tackle drone launchers. If we go over here, it looks like there are hard drives that we can hack that'll give us new turret schematics. Just be warned that this game it's called AI War 2, but this game should be called You Did a Thing and Now There's Consequences. That's what they should rename this game. But I think that's actually what's fun about it when you're a new player, is that you're constantly like, okay, what does this do? And like you hack it, and then all of a sudden you get invaded by a million AI and wiped, and you learn not to touch the burner, you know what I mean? You learn to stop putting your hand on the stove. But basically humanity is really backwards, and the AI is still doing research. And so the AI has access to fantastically powerful specialized ships that we don't have. And if we can hack their mainframes that have those ship blueprints on them, we can gain access to those blueprints. We know that there's a transport over here, so we can get another one of those. That would allow us to increase our fleet capacity. There's another one over here as well, so I think that's a pretty interesting idea. These guys come with okay, but you can only really get these right here if you bring engineers over and repair them. So just something to think about. I think the best place to go is to maybe get some new ship complements over here. We can actually take a look at this system too and scout it. It looks like they've got guard posts at the moment, but there's only 6 ships inside the guard post. Looks like they've got a warp gate right here. When they attack us, it has to come through this warp gate right here. So destroying a warp gate, you can effectively neuter a system. So let's go through the process of conquering a system. You come in, you wipe everything out, and you kill their command station. That means that this system is now neutral. It's empty. There's nothing inside of it. However, destroying this right here is going to drive up your AIP by quite a lot. And the AI is not going to like that very much. And so what you can do is you can come through, get rid of the warp gate, all the defenses, and just leave the command post here. They may rebuild ever so slightly, but the cool thing about that is that you've neutered this area. They can't attack you from it. All they've got here is like a floating station with no complement and no warp gate. And so like you can either neuter a system, or you can come in and you can wipe the whole thing out and take over it. And it's up to you to decide which systems are worth it. In the beginning of the game, I would probably take most of the things that surround you. So for example, we could neuter this pretty easily and then surround it from right here and own this. So I would take this system. I probably wouldn't. Well, I could probably take that system. I'd probably take all 3 of these because that means we only need to defend from 2 directions. And isolating enemy attack directions and vectors is a really important thing in the early game so that the enemy can only really hit you from like 1 to 2 directions. That means that they're going to move like force first into like your massive, massive defenses, which we're going to build right now. I've taken the liberty of building a couple of engineers right here. They're going to run around and build all the stuff that I want to build. We need to make a gate that blocks Codera, so we need to make a blockade. So Codera's over here. All right, so the things that we're going to need tractor beams around Codera. What this is going to do is this is going to lock down anything that comes through the gate. On top of that, we want a tachyon detector right here. The tachyon detector, it's going to reveal invisible units. Invisible units can be a huge, huge problem, and so that's going to kind of like disable them right there. In addition, we could do a force field. I don't know if it's going to be super important. Let's start out with Pike Turrets, actually. I'm going to put in some Pike Turrets kind of like midway in between here. So if we have our Pike Turrets kind of set up, we can only have like 15 of these. I'm going to put 4 of them around my main station so that we do have some fallback defenses if they manage to break through the blockade. On top of that, we've also got beam turrets that we can throw around right now. They are very expensive, so keep an eye on that. These Pike turrets are much cheaper. We can also get sniper turrets, and these sniper turrets can kind of just like chill and like shoot at everything. I don't think they actually have like a range. You can press Z at any time to look at the ranges of stuff. But like, or sorry, Shift Z apparently is the key for that. And you can see the ranges of all the turrets that you're placing, but I'm pretty sure sniper turrets just hit from like anywhere. So I'm going to like put them over here off to the side because they're reasonably cheap and they don't cost much. So we'll go ahead and throw those over there. Just a little line of sniper turrets to fire at whatever. Oh, we got ruffian turrets over here. Apparently ruffian turrets are just ballistic shotguns, I guess. That's what they look like to me. So we'll put in a couple of these over here. We'll go ahead and throw a complement on this side. Actually, I'm going to let things build for right now, just so we can get moving a little bit faster. And as you can see, my engineers are running out to assist with the construction, which is always good. We'll put like another row of them right here to kind of help out with anything that might be going wrong. But that's the nice thing about actually starting out in a really, really good system. If we can take over Nagao and we can take over Barrack, we don't have to worry about attacks from that direction, so we can fully fortify against Codera, which gives us a really, really strong position against which to fight the AI. Beam turrets are kind of pricey right now. We are going through our money at a reasonably rapid rate. These do build on their own, but engineers help them along. Let's go ahead and invade. We can either go to Nagao, or we can go to... What's in Nagao right now? Nagao doesn't look that bad. We do jump in kind of a hot spot, which sort of sucks. And we also jump in kind of a hot spot in Barrack. We achieve the choke zone if we go over to Barrack, so I think I'll go over to Barrack. Let's go ahead and take these guys. We're going to control right-click on this gate right here. And that's going to send us through into the warp. And what you want to do is you want to pause the second that goes through, just to get your bearings. And so we'll go into Barrack right here. We're going to pull back real fast so that we don't take any hits. Because as you can see, they do have some little ships around here. It's important to note that because these are so important to the game, these fleet carriers right here, I don't think they're actually destroyable. Like, I haven't tested it yet, but my general impression seems to be that, like, they can't get destroyed. Instead, they get crippled for 5 minutes when they get down to low health, and you can, like, fly them back to your base. I understand why that's a thing, because without these, you effectively can't play the game. I don't know if I like that mechanic, or if I do, or I don't like that mechanic. Like, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, on a certain level, having unkillable units makes it feel a little bit cheap, but at the same time, like, I get mechanically why it's implemented that way, if indeed it's true, but I'm pretty sure these can't be destroyed. So what do we have over here? We've got an advanced research station on that side. All right, you guys don't attack. You guys all just kind of move over to here. We're going to hack this advanced research station, and so we have hacks right here. And we can steal a line of ships from our enemy. I think that's a good idea. We can get Pike Corvettes, which sounds rad as hell, so I kind of want that. Yeah, let's steal some Pike Corvettes. It's going to take 30 seconds to get that done. We don't want to blow this up until we've actually taken care of business there. Looks like that's just a little patrol right there. We can also set up our fleets. These buttons down in the bottom right corner are very, very useful. So, like, this is attack move mode, so they will... Oh, they're attacking me right now. Okay. You guys fall back to the shield wall. Yeah, stop going out where you're going right there. Yeah, you're going to get murdered if you do that. We should be able to fend this off no problem, though. This shouldn't be that big of a deal. So as you can see, they're coming on in, and they are getting absolutely liquefied on approach. The hack has indeed gone through. We've got an exo strike coming. That's probably not great. I don't know what an exo strike is, but, you know, we'll deal with it. I'm going to put these guys on assault mode. That means they will actively chase down and destroy everything in the system that they possibly can. You are going to want to babysit them while they do this. If you don't babysit them a little bit, they have this tendency to kind of go out and get themselves, see, like this little guy right here. He's like breaking off and going in a weird direction for some reason. I'm just not okay with that. We did get our Pike Corvettes, though. One cool thing about this game is as long as you're within one system jump from a nearby factory, it'll actually build the ships that you've added to your line right there, so we don't have to worry about it. I don't know if I want to hack that thing more times. I don't know how bad the exo strike's going to be. Either way, though, send these guys out to here. We can also tell them to move as a group so they match the speed of the slowest ship, but we don't really need to. This guard station right here, we've already killed its entire complement, and so there's nothing else here that's really going to come out and try to fight with us. There we go. That's what I like to see. I do wish that the units showed a little bit better of spacing. Sometimes I don't like the way that they glitch into each other. Or not glitching, I guess clip into each other. Sometimes I wish that they spaced a little bit better so that you got a better feel for the scale of the battle. In addition, I do think that the destruction effects could be a little bit better. But given the scale of this game, like, we're basically right at the beginning of, like, the baby portion of the game. And so, like, later on, you're going to have like tens of thousands of units, okay? There's going to be lots of crazy stuff going on, and so I get for performance reasons why that might not be. At the same time, it would be cool if when you're zoomed in and a ship gets shot down to 0 health, it like spun out a little bit and then exploded off to the side and threw some debris. But once again, I don't know if that's entirely feasible with the way that the game runs. I haven't had any like performance issues right now, but then again, as I told you, I am super, super terrible about restarting in this game. Let's go ahead and get the warp gate so that they can't attack us from right there. We can tell what direction the attack is going to come from for the exo strike by looking at the lines on the map. They'll move faster when the attack is about to get here, but... Oh, cool, we already killed the warp gate. Nice. Okay, so the warp gate's down. I do want to take this system, so I'm not going to feel too bad about increasing the AI's knowledge of me by destroying this command station. Very nice. Where's my new little pikes at? Are these guys right here? Yeah, dude, look at them. Those dudes are sick. I like the way that they look, dude. Those little yellow kind of Protoss-looking ships right there. I like them. Let's wipe this area out. The only thing that we don't want to destroy is this research station because I'm super, super going to steal more ships from it. Like, there's pretty much no chance that I'm not going to rob and steal more ships from that thing. I don't know exactly where that exo strike is coming from, but we have our intel. Intel is kind of like these little sub-goals that you should probably be paying attention to. If you're ever lost in this game and you don't know what you're doing, just check out the intel reports. Like, the prime objective is to kill the AI overlord, but it'll give you kind of a list of things you can do with like a brief description because the game is so complicated. And there's so many things going on inside of it. Apparently, we have AI forces waiting to strike right now. Not a fan of that, but like wait, what is that right there? Oh, that's a warp gate. That's my bad. We don't want to go through there. Actually, I think we wiped out everything over here. Okay. Yeah, you guys all load back up. Get inside the fleet carrier. We should have 180 inside of there now. 200 inside of there. Even better. Look. Oh, I thought that was debris for a second. It's just a shiny spot on the side of the planet. Do I want to hack this again? They seem to be kind of aggressive about that last time. Well, we'll always have a chance to steal more of this if we want to. We do need to, like, build a station here, though, so we can colonize this. We've got an important decision in front of us. We got to decide whether or not we want to put in an economic command center right here. The economic command center is going to generate a lot of resources, but its fleet complements and its turrets are going to be weak as hell. The logistical command center is somewhere in between offensive, defensive, and economic, so it gives you a decent amount of turrets, but it also gives you a decent amount of economic boost. And then the military command station over here. This one is all turrets, all guns, all protect your territory, and doesn't really generate much else. That's what we're going to build here because this is going to be a major choke point for us. We're going to hang out here, and we're going to choke this area pretty hard. Obishima is what we want to guard from, and so my suggestion would be that we build the base back over there, so at least there's a gap that they have to get to us first. I don't really have any engineers with me, so this is going to take a little while. Technically, I can move engineers over here, but I'm lazy. All right, so it looks like our military command station is just about done. That means we want to fortify right here against Obishima. We're going to need engineers to do that, though, so let's drop a couple engineers in here. We can only have 5 of them, which kind of sucks. We can also have a factory over here. I think that's a really good idea, so we'll drop in both of the factories. We've got our matter converter. I don't think that we need the matter converter. Matter converter basically turns excess metal into electricity. It's helpful, but it's not, like, that helpful. And as you can see, my little engineers are jumping on in, and they're helping with it for right now. On top of that, I think we're going to want to fortify this by, like, quite a lot. And so let's go ahead and we'll put in a tachyon scanner right here. We'll put a tachyon scanner over here by the base. We will put in a couple tractor beams just to tackle as many of the enemies as possible, because if you don't, they have a tendency to focus on the fact that your gate is down. And what I mean by that is they will go for the prime directive, which is capturing the system rather than fighting with your fleets. And so the AI, if they've got numerical superiority, what you'll notice is they zone in and they go straight for your main command center, and they ignore everything else despite the losses. The tractor beams help mitigate that. Each one of these things can pin down like 30-something ships, and so, you know, yeah, there are 42 ships as long as they're underneath a certain size. So it's not going to save us from like frigates and stuff like that, but it will help out. We do have assault PFFLs over here. I do think that it's a really, really good idea that we build a couple of these frigates to just sort of hold the line, and this will be our defensive blockade right here. So we'll get those going. It's going to take those a while to build, but these ships are super rad. They're very, very strong, and they're great for kind of just making a blockade line in front of the gate. We also need to get some pike turrets up and running, and so let's pike it on up over here. We'll just kind of make like a little row of pike turrets over on this side. I don't have too much of a problem of going in on my energy because it's only costing me 2k for each one of these, and affording myself some baseline level of defense is a good idea. We'll put a couple back towards here just in case something goes wrong. I think that's a good idea. And then we'll kind of put in a couple of ambush turrets just sort of in a circle around the base to protect it. I would like to have a force field installed right here. They're spawning a wave against Barrack. I'm in Barrack right now, so that's going to be pretty cool. I think I'll let you guys see the invasion. Okay, so the enemy fleet is getting ready to arrive. We need to pull down to here, and we need to unload. We've got a big battle in front of us, a strength 12 battle, but our fleets are ready. Our frigates are not done being constructed, which worries me. I wish that they were constructed. And there's the enemy fleet right there. They have arrived. And so the battle is kicked off. And as you can see, they're just going to flat out make a run for our objective. You can see them doing it right there. Hopefully they flatten these guys before they get there. I didn't have a chance to get all the defenses underway, but I did get some of the defenses underway. So, like, it looks like we've smoked one of them. There we go. Pull these guys back. Just hold them in place. Don't let them go anywhere. And as you can see, the battles in this game get pretty thrilling and, like, large. You get, like, a lot of ships that are kind of flying around doing what they do. They are on their way in. They have breached the second line of defense right here. The force field is up, so that's good. They can't get in, and they're not going to be able to do much. And so there you go. We've wiped them out. These guys are going to come back and help assist over here, but it looks like it's mostly cleanup duty at this point. Yeah. So they wiped out the tractor arrays, actually. That was pretty smart of them. Let's load everybody back up, and that's basically... I mean, it's not the entirety of AI War 2. I can't express to you how much content there is in this game. There are so many things to memorize, and so many things to fiddle with, and, like, so many things that you just kind of have to have metagame knowledge of. And I think that's why it's such an attractive game to so many people, and it's so addictive, is that, like, with the expansions installed and everything else, you're always learning something. You're always finding out something new. You're always being like, oh, so that's what that does. And once you introduce, like, other factions, like aliens and, like, precursors and, like, titans, like, they're just these AI titans that roam around the map, and they mess with you and the AI just, like, individually. They're like these giant organisms that just, like, fly around consuming entire worlds. And so, like, you'll get these weird games where everything's going in your favor, but then a Titan attacks the AI and drives up the AI's defensive protocols to ludicrous levels, and all of a sudden, a war that that was going very easily for you is going very, very hard because the AI is not reacting to you, it's reacting to that AI Titan that attacked it, and there's just so many variables in this game. Like, I absolutely can't express how good of a game this is. It is very granular. There's a very large learning curve. It is very different from AI War 1. So if you like having control and micro and tons of granularity and control over each and every last little aspect of it, you'll like AI War 1 better. You'll like AI War 1 a lot better. But AI War 2, I think it does a really good job at streamlining the things that were a little overly micro and a little overly aggro about the first game and making it a lot more accessible while still retaining a very, very similar level of depth. Some people are not going to like the changes in AI War 2, but I, for one, think that most of the changes are pretty good. I actually like that I don't have to individually control my fleets anymore. They're all just attached to these flagships, and I can fly the flagships around. Capturing a new flagship always feels fun and exciting and fresh. But anyways, I will see you all later. Thank you for being here. Take care, everybody, and I'll see y'all next time.